Welcome back, everybody, to Out of Touch. I am your chipper and jovial and investigative and surprised host, Kai Schwemmer. Very, very excited. Again with the ears, every single time. I'm very excited to be able to talk to you guys about something that's been in the news and huge. There's a shocking reveal that has been made. There's been a revelation made, rather, in the last batch of Epstein files that came out yesterday. Jeffrey Epstein, known financier, is a pedophile. Did you guys know this? You know, I was not sure, and then I read the new it's like I'm pouring myself a glass of whiskey to get over the news. You know, I read the new batch. It's not looking good, man. You know, you think you know a guy and turns out to be like a real piece of work. A real PDF. Man. Am I the only one that's as disgruntled at the revelation of this information, of this fact, as all of you guys? Of course, I'm joking a little bit. Obviously, Jeffrey Epstein is a known sex trafficker, degenerate, sussy baka. That's not new. But the new batch of 3 million files, or pages rather, with thousands and thousands of images, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands even, of emails and other files. This is truly, in some ways, a revelation, but I think that I am going to have a very, very, very perhaps controversial take, because obviously the big conversation is about government transparency. It's about the opportunity that people have to see what their elected officials, the people with power, are doing in their free time. And in I think almost all cases, it's never going to be good. You're never going to like what the incredibly rich or the incredibly powerful do, because you have this kind of Ring of Gyges situation, right? Which is, you know, taken from the Republic by Plato, this idea that, and it's you know, also like the J.R.R. Tolkien one, the ring that makes the wearer invisible. And the question is asked by Socrates, or rather to Socrates by Glaucon, if I'm not mistaken. It is asked, well, can justice exist? If a just man, when putting on this ring, behaves in the exact same way as an unjust man, does justice truly exist? And so once you get a certain amount of power, prestige, notoriety, it is very difficult to not let the power and the money and all that get to your head. It is difficult to not allow your life to be consumed with vices. So a part of it is predictable, but admittedly, to the extent that it has been revealed, now that is a little bit shocking. It is genuinely disheartening to realize just how tied up in these nasty, nasty situations many elected officials are. But anyway, we will get into that momentarily. First, I'd like to ask you all, if you would like to support the show, to go to powerchat.live/kaiclips. That's where you can send in your chats. Halfway through the show, we'll be going over them. We'll be going over the comments. I'm sure there will be lots of comments. You guys may totally disagree with my take today, but I'm excited to give it because I know that I'm right. I have a firmness and an assurity in my convictions, but it is a somber situation, so we're wearing a black tie. I'm very excited, genuinely, to jump in, but I'm also very excited, yes, to get to those power chats. So if you'd like to support the show, powerchat.live/kaiclips is the place to do it, or send over a super chat on Rumble, or rant is what they call them, I think. And Disaffected Zoomer, you know what? You're such a good man. We're going to make you a mod. Actually, I don't know if I can do that. I see Disaffected Zoomer there. I want to make people mods, but I still don't quite know how. Sorry, gentlemen. My apologies. Anyway, feel free to send in a super chat on YouTube, on Rumble, or on Kick, wherever you guys prefer to send them in. Power chat is preferred, but whatever you guys like to do, I am accepting of all your money. And we're going to start off the show today, before we get into the news about Epstein, and the second story, rather, I'll tease it a little bit. We're going to be talking about who it was exactly that Customs and Border Patrol ICE were attempting to arrest that got them into the confrontation with Alex Preddy. Now, this is a very interesting detail, right? Because people ask, well, what was ICE doing? They were just going and beating people up on the street. They were actually in search of a specific individual. We'll get over the details of that individual's case. We'll get over what his situation means for the country. And I think it says a lot about the state of the immigration conversation as a whole, especially given that literally all of this is avoidable. All of it is avoidable if the enforcement of U.S. Code or Section 8 of U.S. Code is consistent, is not complicated, and is universal. If we were simply able to apply the legal code that we already have and enforce it, this would not be an issue. Alex Preddy would still be alive today. And you could have even avoided his death by arresting him when he was kicking out the lights on cop cars and spitting at cops and telling them to assault him. But nonetheless, that'll be for our second hour. And we are going to, we're going to look here. Also, thank you, Papa Clutch. Papa Clutch has an eye for the important details of the show, and he notices that my tie dimple is spectacular tonight. The tie dimple tonight, it might be the best we've had on the show. I'm not even going to lie. And who else we got in the chat? We got Free Kick Maestro, Jewberry Green, Papa Clutch, Branash, Ben Tolman, Silence, Quick Check Don't Eat, Not Genie, let's go. J.R. Nosif, let's flip and go. Von Sieferberg, so good to see you guys. Genuinely, it is an absolute pleasure. We got Disaffected Zoomer over there on Kick. And then on Rumble, let's see. Sophia, Amy Smith. An absolute pleasure. Sorry about that volume. Who's that annoying guy talking? We got Kitchen Timer, Willie TV, and Sophia and Amy Smith. Hey, thank you guys so much for joining us on Rumble. But like I was saying to start the show off today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be actually giving you guys a little bit of a teaser of a video that'll be out on YouTube tomorrow. I'm going through and with the help of a couple buddies of mine, we're editing some of the debates and conversations that we had at the University of Utah. And one of them was with this Hispanic individual who posited that Charlie Kirk was not in fact killed by a radical leftist, but rather a groyper. It's a very fun conversation. We'll give you guys a 1 minute, maybe 2 minute teaser of it. And if you'd like access to it right now, second plug, you can go to the Gumroad, which is in the link in my link tree, and in the description of this video, it'll be there. And you can subscribe for $5 a month. You shouldn't be drinking coffee, but even if you are, you know, don't drink coffee tomorrow and use the money on the kaiclips Out of Touch content archive. You're going to get an access to all of my past content. There are some compilations on there that are just tremendous, and you're also going to get early access to all of these YouTube videos, all these videos that will eventually be uploaded, and some that we can't even upload. So feel free to tune in there. And now, without further ado, we're going to give you guys a little look into this conversation that we had with this fine individual. See you in just a sec.
Who shot Charlie Kirk?
Left winger.
It was not a left winger.
You think it was right winger?
No, it was a right winger. It was.
So how many?
It was a groyper, actually.
Okay, no, hold on. Good to see you again.
What's your name? Can you talk into the mic?
My name's Isaiah.
If you don't mind not touching it, that'd be great. Thanks, Isaiah.
My name's Isaiah. What was your guys' name?
I'm Kai. Good to meet you, man.
I'm Aiden. Good to meet you.
Kai and Aiden. Hi, nice to meet you guys. So my point, I wanted to go back to the left is more violent than the right. What is?
Could you get a little bit closer to the mic? Sorry.
Like, what do you guys mean by that? What do you mean the left is more violent than the right?
I would say that the left, time and time again, when polled, shows to be more tolerant and accepting of violence against its ideological enemies, left-wing people.
Right. Okay. Well, I want to bring up the point about Melissa Hortman versus what's his name? The violence between Melissa Hortman and Charlie Kirk. Now, Charlie Kirk was a podcaster, and Melissa Hortman, I believe she was a senator, and the difference between the two was just absolutely crazy. Now, I'm thinking that you guys are saying Democrats are left?
When polled, they're included in it, but particularly like strong liberals. That's the way that the literature typically refers to the people we're talking about.
Right, okay. So So what do you mean by left? Like, what is left to you guys?
So, well, I want to address those examples that you brought up there. Do you know how many people were flagged on social media for posting in support of Charlie Kirk's death 3 days after?
A lot.
Take a guess.
Not sure.
63,000. That was the amount that was just flagged.
Okay.
For Melissa Hortman, let's compare her, or take any politically motivated attack on the right.
Mhm.
Do you see a mass support of political violence on the right? If so, what are some examples?
Well, I would give George Floyd. There was a lot of memes and a bunch of different stuff about George Floyd once he died. Conservatives said that they were making fun of the...
Have you read his autopsy?
Yes, I have.
So you're aware that he died of a fentanyl overdose?
Yes, did that not have anything to do with having a police officer's knee on his neck at all? Do you think that
Yeah, I
didn't
agree.
have some sort of... Exactly. So that was caused by that. Another one is Renee Good.
Wait. Caused by fentanyl or caused by his knee on the neck? Because the autopsy said it was fentanyl.
The autopsy did say it was fentanyl, but I believe that it was triggered, or it had something to do with the cop. What's it called?
Also, can you think of any person on the right who said that George Floyd dying was good?
Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk said we
Charlie
should
Kirk
kill more
said
people
that-
like George Floyd.
Yes, he did. Actually,
He said
his
we
last
should
words.
kill more people like George Floyd.
He believed in public executions. Yes.
No, okay.
Wait, for who?
no.
For who? For who? For who? For
What?
who? Public executions for who? I think it's very important to contextualize that.
I believe he said for just criminals and people that he disagrees with.
Okay, so I mean, legally,
Convicted criminals?
there are states in this country where the death penalty still exists. I'm against the death penalty, for the
Me as well.
record. But like in the state of Utah, capital punishment does exist for aggravated murder.
Okay.
Alrighty, there you go. So there's a little trailer, a little teaser, a little 2-minute excerpt from one of the debates that's going to be up on YouTube tomorrow. And that is already up on the Gumroad for all you fine people who have already subscribed. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the moment to do it. Today's the day. Seize your destiny. Do not reject this inheritance that you have been given. Anyway, so very excited for you guys all to see that. Seriously, the conversation's hilarious. He says that Tyler Robinson was a groiper. And then there's another conversation that we're going to be putting out. It'll probably be up on the Gumroad on Monday, and then on Tuesday or Wednesday, it'll be up on YouTube. It's a video where a guy, we go back and forth about the stats of criminality. And he basically says that the only reason there's a disproportionality in crime rates among groups and that black people commit disproportionate amounts of violent crime, he believes the only reason for that is socioeconomics. And of course, I offered the amazing retort, what about being poor makes you want to rape somebody? That is the retort that you have to be employing whenever people make such a silly claim. And there's even a live debunk, which is based. So anyway, that's very exciting. Nonetheless, I'll take a sip of my mate and then we'll jump into our story about Jeffrey Epstein. Somebody in the chat said, my hair looks like a mustache. Yo, you got me thinking of Scotty K Fitness. You see that? You see Scotty K Fitness, this guy with the huge mustache? I tweeted about him, has almost 1 million views now, the tweet. Yeah, Scotty K Fitness, crazy. This guy got called, he didn't even get called a name. He got compared because he looks similar to the gay uncle from Ozark. And he doxed a disabled guy because he said that. And Scotty K Fitness is a fitness YouTuber, influencer with 2 million followers on Instagram. Sorry, the mustache comment just made me think of him, but that's been another big story this week, is how this guy is a totally insufferable millennial idiot. And not to be super mean, not to go in too hard, but it's like he is a notorious doxer. He is a softie, a lightweight, despite the physique, super sus, a little gay. And yeah, it's Scotty K Fitness. This guy, he just, by the way, lost his Rise. He lost his Rise sponsorship, which is so freaking epic. I was worried when I first saw him because I didn't know what he was about. I thought he was one of the owners of Rise, the pre-workout brand. I was really worried, and I was like, man, am I going to have to stop buying this pre-workout? It's what I take every day. I take the Rise, what is it? The there's like this ring pop flavor. That's what I have every day when I go to work out. And I was worried I was going to have to cancel my subscription. Well, now I'm just going to have to support them even harder because they literally, they sacked him. They took him out as one of their influencers. So anyway, very excited about that. And he is just a case in point. He's a perfect example of what I've said on the show many times about swearing. And this is something that exists particularly with millennials. His form of comedy is inserting the F word in every other sentence. He's like, he has this video where he's cooking food. He's like, I'm hungry, but I'm effing lazy. Come cook effing food with me. Open the effing bag of cheese. Open the effing chicken. And it's like, dude, what are we doing? Like, are you in third grade? In third grade, I thought it was cool to swear. In third grade, I thought I was funnier when I was saying swear words. You are 33. He may be older. And what are we doing, man? Like, I don't know. This is the lowbrow, like the most stupid, ridiculous, dumb form of content. I don't want to be mean. I know he makes posts about mental health and all that. Suppose there are rumors and allegations that he did something sussy while he was either in law enforcement or the military, and that's why he got kicked out. I don't know. I haven't investigated that. I'll leave that on the table. But he made a video. My controversy with him wasn't even about the doxing. It was that he made this super cringe video where he was like, yep, that was effing murder. A nurse was just assassinated by police. And all these 2A people are like talking about Kyle Rittenhouse. Shut the F up. And it's like, bro, oh my goodness. Just lift the dumbbell. Just lift the dumbbell, dude. Hey, Mr. Potty Mouth, just lift the dumbbell. I do not want to hear your stupid, uninformed take about the death of Alex Preddy. And actually, and Papa Clutch, I don't be buying ring pops. I buy pre-workout that's ring pop flavor. Two different things. Anyway, I am debating, jumping in because we've got a good natural segue there. Let's jump in actually to this first. Let's talk a little bit about who it was actually that ICE was pursuing. Because I've had a couple conversations with individuals just on Instagram through DMs and stuff like that. Nothing sus, but I've had a couple conversations where people routinely are asking the same question. And the question is, well, what was ICE doing? And so the initial question that you have to ask back is, well, what do you think they were doing? You think they just wanted to kill Alex Preddy? Obviously not. Obviously, they don't just go in looking to kill people. This is not Family Guy. This is not Suicide by Cop. This is, well, I mean, maybe a little bit that way. But this is not, cops just running rampage, wanting to kill as many people as possible. It was a complicated situation with a ton of confounding variables and a chaotic atmosphere that eventually led to the discharge of one firearm that likely pushed the other officers to discharge their firearms as well because they were unsure of where that threat was coming from. So the Alex Preddy shooting, obviously, not a fun time, not good. It could have been avoided several times. And we're about to talk about how this initially could have been avoided. But more importantly, we're going to talk about what it was that actually brought ICE to the confrontation to begin with. So here's from CBS News. Agents were pursuing an immigrant when they killed Alex Preddy. Now he shares his story. I love that headline. ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, was enforcing immigration law and custom law. Like, what is this headline? ICE doing their job when Alex Preddy was killed. It's like, I don't know. This is just one thing, but we'll read. Jose Huerta Chuma is a man in hiding, and he's also a man in distress. He's been replaying the fatal shooting of Minneapolis resident Alex Preddy over and over again in his mind, wondering if he could have done something differently and if there's something that would have saved that life. And spoiler alert, absolutely. But we'll keep reading. The 41-year-old immigrant from Ecuador, who said that he has been in the U.S. for over 2 decades, described witnessing the shooting after hiding inside a local business. The Department of Homeland Security has described Huerta Chuma as a criminal living in the U.S. illegally, who was the target of the Border Patrol operation that led to the encounter with Preddy on Saturday, January 24th. I think maybe if I hadn't gone to that place, or I don't know, a little later or a little earlier, I mean, that never would have happened. Huerta Chuma told CBS News during a phone interview conducted in Spanish. Why was it conducted in Spanish? He's been living in the United States for 20 years, but that's just an aside. Asked if he feels some sense of guilt, he said, while crying, his voice fraught with emotion, "I do feel guilty. I do feel bad. I saw stories about the man, and I saw a very good person." DHS officials have described Huerta Chuma as a violent criminal, illegal alien on the loose. Documents reviewed by CBS News indicate Huerta Chuma's record includes traffic violations and that he pleaded guilty to a disorderly conduct misdemeanor offense in 2018. The New York Times reported, citing Minnesota court documents, that the plea was linked to a domestic violence arrest and that the offense was later expunged. Huerta Chuma said the domestic violence case stemmed from an argument with his partner at the time. The Minnesota Department of Corrections said in a statement that Huerta Chuma has never been in the state's prison system and that it did not find felony convictions in his case. CBS News reached out to the representatives for DHS seeking comment about Huerta Chuma's record and whether officials are still pursuing him. A shooting witnessed from a hiding spot. In his public comments, Huerta Chuma told CBS News he'd immigrated from Ecuador in the early 2000s in his 20s. Before Preddy's shooting upended his life, he was raising his American-born children while working as a rideshare driver. "I'm not a criminal. I just was working that day," he said. "I was going to pick up the delivery." Huerta Chuma said he was on his way to ride to pick up a delivery order around 8:18 a.m. on January 24th in South Minneapolis. He's like an Uber Eats driver. He showed CBS News screenshots of the route from that morning, indicating he was in the area where the shooting happened. It was a routine delivery, similar to the almost 20,000 rides he had done over nearly 6 years. As he was driving down Nicollet Avenue, Huerta Chuma said he passed a car driving in the opposite direction. "One agent was staring at me, but I just blinked my eyes and said, 'Gosh,'" he didn't say gosh, but, we're not going to use the Lord's name in vain here. "Gosh, they were immigration," Huerta Chuma recalled. "So when I looked in the mirror, they turned around immediately. Huerta Chuma said the agents, who were in a red car without license plates, started to follow him. "I didn't run or anything. I left very calm," he said. "I saw it," and that is not the case the entire interaction. That's some foreshadowing. "I saw they were with ICE. I knew in my head they were ICE because they turned around so quickly when they saw my face." Huerta Chuma said he parked his car, got out, and left the vehicle running. He said federal agents started to follow him, and a man at a local business let him inside, locking the door behind him. Huerta Chuma said he hid there for about 4 hours. So immediately we have he believes that he's going to be arrested or detained at minimum. And what does he do? He flees. He parks his car and leaves the vehicle running. And it's like, first of all, why? I understand there are these videos with ICE. I understand there are videos of conflict. There's a lot of negative press, but I think that the negative press is actually making these situations a lot more dangerous because they tell even legal immigrants, they tell even, just Hispanic Americans that anytime they see ICE, the best thing they can do is run. And that is not the best thing you can do. That is probably going to make things a lot worse because then you look like a suspect fleeing. Because then the cop is thinking, if this guy's innocent, why is he running away? Why did he park his car, leave it on? What's up with this guy? That's the first thing that the cop is thinking, is that this guy must be guilty because look at the way he's acting. He's trying to avoid us. And that's not to say you need to go out of your way to hang around police, but it is to say that you should not actively flee, right? So Huerta Chuma said that he saw Preddy show up and start filming. He saw a Border Patrol agent push a woman nearby. He said he saw the agents tackle Preddy to the ground and take his gun. "It all happened so fast," he said, noting that he did not see Preddy trying to hurt the agents or reach for his firearm. Then he described the rapid-fire shots. Tack, 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 tack. Huerta Chuma said he watched the ambulance arrive but knew it was too late. He said he saw federal agents write down his license plate, then he left. "It felt horrible to be watching and not being able to do anything," Huerta Chuma said. "I don't know how long I will be like this." And this is where it gets into kind of the statements that were made by DHS. And this is actually important because DHS has done this routinely and it doesn't help. And it doesn't help at all. What they do is they provide these maximalist explanations where you get like Kristi Noem saying things that, conceivably could be true, but with video evidence of the reality of a situation like the shooting of Alex Preddy, it's just very clearly not the case. Kristi Noem claims that he ran at officers with a gun. That is not the case. That's not what occurred. Everybody has seen the video. Does that mean that the shoot is not a good shoot or that it cannot be legally justifiable? No, that's not what that means. But what it does mean is more and more people lose trust in DHS, certainly in the DHS Secretary, Kristi Noem, but also by extension in the entire federal government and in the Trump admin as a whole. That is not good. Whichever way you slice it, that is not good. Honesty is the best policy in this regard. We'll read. Immediately after the shooting, Huerta Chuma witnessed, DHS officials made sweeping statements about Preddy and his actions, some of which have been directly contradicted by videos, witness accounts, and preliminary government report. DHS initially said one Border Patrol agent fired defensive shots after Preddy approached agents with his firearm. The department suggested, without citing concrete evidence, that Preddy intended to massacre federal agents. That's another thing. That's not something you have to claim. It is not something that you know. Maybe it can come out in an investigation, but the motives are notoriously difficult to ascribe to somebody, especially after they're deceased. So I didn't like that either. I thought this is stupid. This is unnecessary. But we'll keep watching, or we'll keep reading. A report to Congress obtained by CBS News earlier this week found that 2 U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents fired their weapons during the January 24th shooting. The report, based on a preliminary review by CBP's Office of Professional Responsibility, also did not mention Preddy reaching for his firearm. Video analyzed by CBS News, and this is, a repeating of everything that we basically know. Papa Clutch, by the way, asks, how the F did Kristi Noem become the Secretary of DHS? DEI. It is literally DEI. She is a DEI hire. This is right-wing DEI. Arguably the exact same thing with Tulsi Gabbard, although I think, Tulsi's maybe a little bit more credible, perhaps. But this is also the case with, other parts of the personnel like Kash Patel. Kash Patel, total DEI hire. Maybe it's because he's Indian. Maybe it's because he's based. But, Kash Patel is a DEI hire. Kristi Noem is another DEI hire. These people are making the job of the executive way more difficult than it needs to be because Kristi Noem straight up lies. And I honestly don't think she has political strategy. I think she literally is just incompetent. I do not like Kristi Noem one bit. And then look at who else is it? Who am I thinking of? The AG. Who's the AG? Remind me of her name, the blonde gal. Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi. There we go. Thank goodness, man. Miss Pam Bondi. Anyway, Pam Bondi, same deal. DEI. Total DEI hire. Super cringe. This is just, this is another case of these individuals who, frankly, are incompetent governors. They are incompetent governors. So, anyway, let's continue reading here. But that's just an aside. I hate a lot of these picks, and I know they're loyalists. But it's at some point the loyalism, when it is not effective, when it is not people who are smarter than Trump guiding him in the right directions, it is just useless. And it is, in fact, detrimental. So we'll keep reading here. Border Patrol official Gregory Bovino, who's since been reassigned following the bipartisan backlash triggered by Preddy's killing, described Huerta Chuma as an illegal alien during a press conference hours after the deadly shooting. Pointing to a booking photo, Bovino said Huerta Chuma's record included domestic assault, disorderly conduct, and driving without a license. In a statement 2 days later, DHS branded Huerta Chuma a violent criminal illegal alien, which is probably rhetorically charged, who remained at large, asking the public to call a government hotline with any tips regarding his whereabouts. Huerta Chuma said the government was displaying an older picture from when he was arrested in 2018 during an altercation with his wife. So here's the thing. I'm not going to pretend that I know all of the circumstances of this prior arrest, right? The other thing you have to realize is that you have these, sanctuary cities across the country where even if an illegal alien is convicted of a certain crime, there does not have to be cooperation. This is what sanctuary cities do. They don't have to cooperate with the federal government in letting them know about the immigration status of the individuals being arrested. That's basically the function of a sanctuary city. It is to say that, an illegal alien could get charged with a crime, an illegal alien could be being investigated, an illegal alien could be the victim of a crime, and nonetheless, when the government makes an attempt to reach out or to enforce immigration law, the state governments or the city or municipalities, they basically are legally trying to figure out a way to absolve themselves of the responsibility of cooperating with the state. None of that is good. That is not good. That divides the country. And frankly, I think that in and of itself is like a little bit of insurrection, because it is an obstruction of the enforcement of federal law in U.S. jurisdictions. So that is that's definitely something that bugs me. But this is why you have these cases, and why this article, and this is crazy, this CBS News article is totally opaque. It is absolutely not clear. Opaque, which is to say not clear, about whether or not this individual, Jose Huerta Chuma, is actually an illegal alien or not. And this is ridiculous. It's like, that should be the headline. It should be very easy to know. It was tedious. It was taxing for me to be able to figure this out. And that's the case in many states and jurisdictions around the country. That's a problem. When you have people who basically don't exist as criminals, or at least the state governments are not willing to share the information with the federal government, you actually increase the risk of a lot of criminal activity, right? Because there's not the same threat of deportation. And I understand the counter argument is, well, look, if there is criminality, if there is some crime occurring, if there is a threat of deportation, then criminal aliens will not want to report the crimes. But look at where the crimes are occurring. They're usually in those same communities, which means that it's like a self-perpetuating cycle. We'll continue. But nonetheless, I do think it was rhetorically charged and probably unwise to say that he was a criminal illegal alien who remained at large and, violent and whatnot. That was probably a bit too rhetorically charged. Wasn't necessary. You could just say, look, this guy's an illegal alien. He's had prior convictions. That should be enough. Huerta Chuma said, we'll keep reading. Huerta Chuma did not reveal his whereabouts to CBS News. He said he was worried about his safety, his work, and what would happen to his 3 children born in the U.S. Huerta Chuma said he has 2 children, ages 11 and 15, who live with him, and another child, a 3-year-old, who lives with the mother. CBS News attempted to reach the children's mother, but did not receive a response. Information accessed through the Justice Department's immigration court system says Huerta Chuma's deportation case was administratively closed in May 2022. The immigration court records do not list a deportation order. Huerta Chuma said he has since applied for a U visa, designed to protect immigrants who are victims of crimes and who have assisted law enforcement investigations. Here's where this gets really interesting, right? Look at the language that this CBS article is employing. What's up, Barry Weiss? Why are we not improving the journalistic quality here? They cite that he had an active deportation case which was dismissed or administratively closed in 2022. The deportation filings were likely closed because he made an appeal for this certain kind of visa, right? Or he was protected in some other way. That's not to say, look, my understanding of the legality of the deportations is that even if you've had a deportation order which has been closed, that does not absolutely absolve you of the risk of future deportation. These are case-by-case bases. So if there is something that changes, such as the standard for deportation in the United States, you have to argue that in front of an immigration officer. And usually, if he's been in the country this long, in front of a judge. This is not something that happens immediately, right? It's not as if he's just automatically deported. It is something that has to be argued then in front of a judge. And in the case of Mr. Huerta Chuma, Jose, he would absolutely be detained. He would be put into detention, right, at one of these facilities. He would have legal representation eventually, and then he would have to basically describe this case. And at that point, a judge could say, hey, look, I understand you want to deport this guy. He's filed for this kind of visa. We're going to allow him to stay, or we're going to deport him. The reason that hasn't happened before is because in 2022, what was the way we were going about our immigration law? It was a joke. The immigration law in this country was an absolute joke. There weren't deportations. There was not this active enforcement. And a lot of people, even if they had criminal priors, doesn't have to be a felony. It can be, driving without a license, like in his case. Why does he not have a license? Maybe because where he was living did not allow him to have a license, because he is an illegal alien. Although Utah would allow him to have a driver's permit card. Isn't that crazy? A driver privilege card? Isn't that so crazy? And you got this domestic spat. We don't know if it was like he was beating up his wife. He said it was a verbal altercation. He pled guilty to disorderly conduct in this case. Pleading down could mean that there was some violence that occurred, but it was pled down to be a misdemeanor instead of a felony. Some kind of, conciliation existed between him and his wife. We don't know. Maybe she took partial responsibility. We don't know the ins and outs of that case. But what I find very interesting is how resistant, how hesitant this CBS article is in just saying that he is an illegal alien. I had to look at the local news. Local news in Minneapolis reported on the fact that he was an undocumented immigrant. And this is what DHS is claiming, but there's plenty of people who don't even acknowledge it. So that's just an interesting detail. Anyway, and I love this. Get this. It's unclear exactly when and how Huerta Chuma first entered the U.S. Huerta Chuma said he has another child living in Ecuador. Court or records indicate that Huerta Chuma does not have a criminal record in his native country. Get this. We'll keep reading and then we'll analyze some more. Huerta Chuma said he started working as a rideshare driver so he could have a flexible schedule and be available for his children. But since the shooting, he said he hasn't worked and is rarely eating or sleeping. He said he is continuing to hide. Though he's scared about getting arrested, Huerta Chuma said the main source of his consternation is Pretty's death. I'm very devastated spiritually. Why did they kill the man? He didn't do anything. I was there, I saw everything. Here's the issue. Again, terrible journalism, but it could be even that there is a narrative associated with it, and I think that's likely. Look at the way they frame this. Hold on. He said he was worried about his safety, his work, and this is a couple paragraphs prior, if you recall. He has 3 children born in the U.S. Huerta Chuma said he has 2 children, ages 11, 15, who live with him, and another child, a 3-year-old, who lives with the mother. Does the mother live in the United States? We presume yes. But he's got another child, like it says at the very end, in Ecuador. And then it says it's unclear exactly when or how Huerta Chuma first entered the United States. Is it really unclear? Is it unclear if he has immigrated illegally? And then you look it up, then you research a little more. It seems very clear that he's undocumented. It seems very clear that he is not a legal resident in the United States. But these kind of judicial holdups, this new kind of bifurcated society that we have of these states and jurisdictions and cities like Salt Lake, like Utah, which is a sanctuary state. These sanctuary states put themselves at odds with the federal government and make any kind of clarity in these cases impossible. But let's look at these things and these issues from 2,000 feet above. Let's examine the totality of our situation with immigration in the United States of America. And I'm going to take a breather. I've been talking really fast, man. Man, I got to remember to breathe and drink mate. Am I right, my guys? So true. Man, these ice stories have really given me an opportunity to make use of my Spanish. Oh, I'm just jacked up on caffeine, man. Here's the case. Should Mr. Chuma have been prioritized for deportation? Probably not. Certainly not, I would say. This is a guy who, although he had some criminal convictions prior, is not a huge threat to society from what we can tell, has 3 children born in the United States who then become U.S. citizens because we have this stupid birthright citizenship. And we now have a situation, right, where a father who's lived in the United States for 20 years is being pursued by ICE agents and let's say that Alex Preddy doesn't step in. Let's say Jose Huerta Chuma is arrested, and after his arrest, he's detained, and let's say he's put in processing for deportation. Let's say the U.S. government says, hey, look, we understand you haven't killed anybody, but we also don't want people here with traffic violations or with domestic abuse misdemeanors. We don't want people with any kind of criminal conviction, criminal prior in our country. And they have every right. The United States has every right to do that. If he is illegally entered, there's a lack of protected status. It's like at the end of the day, if you are here on a work visa, if you are here on a student visa, you better behave super, super well, because the standards for you are going to be a little bit stricter. They're actually going to be a lot tighter than for the average, legal permanent resident or American citizen. People are going to be watching much closer what you're doing because you don't have a right to be here. And that, by the way, is, even further, that is taken to an even greater extent, or an even further extent, in the case of somebody who is immigrated here illegally, who not only does not have a right to be here, but is literally defying the law in being here. But nonetheless, this opportunity allows us a great way to look at the terrible way that our immigration system exists. If Jose Huerta Chuma had been arrested at the border, or when he got off a plane, and had been sent back to his home country of Ecuador, or sent back to the first country that he entered from Ecuador, which is where he should have had to file for asylum if that was what he was trying to do. If he had simply been apprehended when he crossed and been sent back immediately, all of this would have been avoided. Every single moment of it. Obviously, the minor traffic violations, the misdemeanor domestic abuse, this would have been avoided, but also the death of Alex Preddy, the riots in Minneapolis, the burning down of buildings, the burning down of ICE headquarters in LA, the attacking of police officers, the deaths of protesters. All of this could have been avoided if we were better able to apprehend people at the border. And this is what Obama, this is what he touted, is that the 17 million or so deportations that occurred under his presidency, they were at the border deportations. We need that. For the last 5 years, however, we haven't had that. We've had what is practically an open border. And how many people are going to end up staying because they haven't been caught, and then it's 1 year, and after 1 year it's 2 years, and after 2 years it's 3 years, and then it's 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. Eventually it's 20, and maybe during those years they have children here. Now, how unfair is it that they're being deported? Well, the circumstances of their arrival have not changed. The fact that they have illegally entered the country has not changed. Only now they have a lot more to lose. And I don't think it is actually the most humane option to kick people out who have built a life here, who have so much to lose, who really know the United States maybe even better than their home countries. Huerta Chuma had spent half and half, right? He had spent most of his life in Ecuador. He had spent the other half of his life, little less than half of his life, in the United States. But then also look at this situation. He has a kid in Ecuador. He has a family in Ecuador. His parents are likely in Ecuador. You have ties still to that country linguistically, nationally, and by your blood. So you have to look at this situation also in that way. Because we have allowed him to cross the border, and because we failed rather, to stop him at the border and send him back immediately to be with his son in Ecuador, because we haven't done that, he's now able to have children here, and his children become immediate U.S. citizens. Why? No idea. Terrible Supreme Court precedent, terrible decision making. None of the architects and framers of the 14th Amendment would have ever wanted that to be the case, but nonetheless, this is the reality in which we live. So now that he has children here, if he's deported, the U.S. government looks like a whole bunch of jerks because, well, if they deport his kids with him, then they're deporting American citizens. And the cases that do exist of American citizens being deported are of children who are deported with their parents who say that they want their children with them when they're deported to their home country. So, oh yeah, and Ben Tolman brings up a good point. Yeah, remittances, up to 33%, up to 50% in some cases of the paychecks of both legal and illegal immigrants are sent to their home country through remittances. So what's up with that? It's not even like a pure economic tie to the United States. You know, people immigrate for economics. It's not even about setting up an economic life and future in the United States because they send like a third of their income back to their home countries. I mean, come on. So it's not even an entirely economic relationship with the United States. But anyway, now we have the United States in this predicament, and where you get the Trump policy, which is, look, all right, we're going to send, we are not going to separate families. We're going to send them all back together. And that, I think, is the only moral way to tackle this. I am not in favor of family separation. I'm simply not. I think family separation is awful. I think it's one of the worst things that can occur. It's traumatic. But I also understand, because I'm an individual who perceives politics as more than just something fueled by emotion, I understand that our laws need to be enforced. And there was a story the other day that I was watching of a young man who was sent to England. He was deported to England. He was the child of 2 work visa holders, and his parents simply did not appear in court to extend their visa. They simply failed to make it intentionally. They were too lazy to make it to one of their court hearings. As a result, their child was deported to England. And this man, he's now like 20-something. He described he loved America. He'd known America all his life. He was brought there as a child, right? But he said, it will be so difficult. It is so difficult for me to forgive my parents for subjecting me to that, for not taking the time to appear in court and now subjecting me to this removal. And that's what it is. You want to talk about things that are morally wrong? I think there's, by the way, an argument to be made on both sides. Is it morally wrong, and is it, a terrible thing to separate families? Yes. But is it also morally wrong to immigrate to a country illegally, plant your roots there, knowing that you expose your children to the risk of deportation with you? Yeah, I think that's really bad too. And it's interesting. I had a Spanish teacher here at the University of Utah, I almost said, here at BYU, right? And this Spanish teacher, she would describe this iron train that immigrants would take through South America in order to get to the U.S. border. And the train is like, the conditions on this train are terrible. There's abuse, there's violence, there's trafficking. The parents don't go with their children very frequently. And I understand that life is bad in your home country, but to expose your children to the risk of human trafficking, I mean, this is just irresponsible, and it is also immoral. I'm done pretending that only one side is making these difficult and not so nice looking choices. I'm tired of thinking that this is so one-sided. I'm tired of people talking about it that way. You're not a good parent if you come to this country and have children understanding that the way you got to this country exposes your children to deportation to a country that they don't even know. And you don't want that to happen? You want your children to stay here without a family? You want to leave your children behind? Or leave them in your home country, in Ecuador? I don't think that's right either. We have to be able to say that. And so this is the fundamental thing that can be said about our immigration system. The way it has been enforced is immoral. It is immoral to give people the false pretense that they are going to be fine immigrating here illegally. That is immoral. It is absolutely immoral to tell them that they're going to be totally okay, knowing that that's not true, knowing that U.S. legal code puts them, or would require putting them, in removal proceedings if they were ever found out. That is immoral. It is immoral to have such a soft on-the-border policy, to have such an open southern border that allows people easily to enter the United States, rather than apprehend them at the border and deport them back to their country. That is immoral too, because it incentivizes them to cross, to lay down their roots, and it makes it more difficult to find them. And when they are found, they're likely going to be deported. And then, where are you at? You're in a terrible situation. And so the United States, the way we've done our border enforcement, The way we have done immigration, it is immoral. It is a moral travesty. And the only way you fix this moral travesty is not by allowing 10 million, billion, gazillion people in every single year because they'd prefer to be in America than in the countries they come from. What is actually more moral than that is enforcing these laws strictly and making sure that nobody ever has to face the decision process of either leaving their kids here without their parents or bringing them back to a country that they don't even know. That's the way that you make our immigration enforcement moral. You have to enforce it immediately. In fact, the Constitution describes that, right? When the Constitution describes the process of justice, when the Constitution describes your rights, what does it describe? A right to a fair and speedy trial with a jury of your peers. Well, a speedy trial is not one that allows you to stay in the United States for 10 years and then eventually get put in removal proceedings that could last years. The right to a speedy trial is to be caught at the border and sent back within 48 hours. That's the best way you can do it. That is the way you uphold Constitution, the Constitution's principles. That's how we have to talk about this. Again, it's not our fault we're in this situation. But the bed has been made and now we have to lie in it. And it sucks. And it really does. When was the last time you saw anybody get arrested for anything and they had a great time? Maybe your drunk college buddies. But an arrest is not a fun thing. And an arrest by Customs and Border Enforcement, right? Or Border Patrol is even less fun. But that is a risk that you entertain. It's like the conversation about abortion, right? Don't want to have sex? Or don't want to have sex? Based? Don't want to get pregnant? Don't have sex. Don't want a kid? Don't have sex. Oh, you don't like abortions? Okay, don't get one. All right, Uno reverse card. Don't want deportation? Okay, don't get one. It's like, come on. What are we doing here? So anyway, that's our situation. And it's sad because all of this could have been avoided. At the end of the day, and I posted a Super Sigma photo. I posted a Super Sigma photo a couple years back, and it was a guy standing looking cold. Mads Mikkelsen, I think is who it was, and it just said all of this could have been avoided. And that's how I feel. That's how I frequently feel. But we are here to make the tough decisions. We are here to do the things that are difficult, understanding that it will be impossible to do them in a way that makes everybody happy. Anyway, let's jump to our super chats in the interim. Let's see what we've got sent in by you lovely people. Map Gamer, thank you for the follow. Here, hold on. Now we're back in the old studio. We can actually play the music. Let's move over here. Alrighty, everybody. We've got a super chat from... Okay, it's not playing. We've got a super chat from... It's still not playing. Syndicate USA. Thank you so much, man. He sends a $2 super chat and says, I'm really hungry. Well, I'm not. I actually had a super delicious hamburger. A super yummy-licious hamburger from Chom. I think it was called Chom Burger. Really good, dude. It was delicious, man. I asked, I was like... Okay, to be fair, it started off really rough. I was like, can I get your burger of the month? It was a chicken sandwich, perfect for me. I'm like, can I get the burger of the month? It's not a burger though, to be fair. But can I get the burger of the month and the shake of the month, please? And the lady goes, hey, what the? That's not what she said, but huge super chat. Huge super chat from our boy Asian Mormon.
Asian Mormon sent $100.
Let's go, dude. Hold on. Banger alert? Schnuffel? Passion Party? Let's go. Kind of a banger. Total W. W's in the chat. Yo, W's in the chat. BOM, Burger of the Month. So true. W in the chat for our boy Asian Warmer. Please put a W. Guys, can you guys please put a W in the chat right now, guys? Please. And if you'd like to send in a super chat, you can send it to powerchat.live/kaiclips. And we'll read them off. Is this slowed? Yeah, it is slowed. I was going to say. I don't know how I just noticed that. And thank you, Syndicate. Appreciate you for the 2. Appreciate you, Asian Mormon. Asian Mormon is the tune supplier for the chat. He is the tune supplier. Dude, slow plus chopped and screwed. Slowed plus reverb. Chopped and screwed. Nobody says chopped and screwed anymore. Probably because it sounds like you're ugly and you've been assaulted. Is what it sounds like. Chopped and screwed. Now MFers can't even say chopped and screwed anymore. Now it's a totally different meaning. Now it is a totally different meaning than it was when I was younger. Total banger, bro. Let's go, dude. Yeah, dude. That's true. Asian Mormon, no matter where he goes and what he does, he's a part of the lore now. He's a part of the Out of Touch lore. Oh, and I love it. The video associated with this song that he sent me, the image is Patrick Bateman laying on a couch. Literally. I remember when Kai worked at a yogurt shop. No, you don't, because I never worked at a yogurt shop. I worked at a gelato shop, John Douglas 5712, okay? No, you get that straight. You understand me? No, but good memory. Kai, are you unk? I am. I'm 23 now, dude. I'm so unk. Dude, tell me this is not such a bop, man. And we got a super chat as well from Sophia. We'll read it out in just a second. Gotta wait for the song to finish up. Let's go, dude. Chopped and Screwed has been co-opted. It really has, man. John Doe asked if I read the chat. Of course I read the chat, man. Dude, I'm so excited for you guys to see the videos coming out soon. We should make, dude, edits. We need more edits. We need more edits. We need more propaganda being created. We need more propaganda being created for the kaiclips 1,000-year ride. For the kaiclips Imperium. Let's go, bro. I'm still a YN and not unk. I don't know if I'm a YN, man. I don't know if I would say that, not gonna lie. I don't know if I'm a YN. Anyway, thank you so much, Asian Mormon. Thank you so much, Asian Mormon, for that beautiful song. Huge super chat. Huge super chat. It's good to see you, my friend. My friend from the East. Okay, now let's read Hold on, where are we? There we go. Sophia super chat. Sophia0987 says, "Hey Kai, this question might seem dumb." Hold on, I haven't had my mic close to me this entire stream. Sorry, gentlemen. I hope that's better. Hi Kai, this question might seem dumb, but a verse that stumped me for a while, Isaiah 65:17. What does it mean in terms of former things not being remembered and those past in heaven? Let me read. And we are doing some reading. Hold up. Okay, I pull up. Pop out at the after party. You and all your friends make me go badagaba. Alrighty. Here we go. Isaiah 65:17. We're going to read from the KJV. For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come to mind. Okay, immediate impressions. This is talking about the second coming. This is talking about the remaking of the earth. It's resurrection. It's perfection. Now you got to turn it down. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. Let's see here. 65. Let's look at the can I get my KJV? Look, can a brother get a KJV, man? That's just how I am, bro. I just love me the KJV. For behold, I create a new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered nor come into mind, but be glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing and her people a joy. And I will rejoice Jerusalem and joy in my people, and the voice of weeping shall be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying. There shall be no more there an infant of days, nor an old man that has not fulfilled his days. For the child shall die 100 years old, but the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed. Yeah, so this is talking about the second coming, if I'm not mistaken. It's describing the glorified, beautified state of the earth at the time of the second coming. Let's look at the Gospel Library app. Let's see what we have here as references. Yep, it's the millennium, the renewal of the earth. We're going to pull that up in our topical guide. It says, "And the former shall not be remembered, the earth prior to the millennium, nor come into mind." Okay, so let's look at the topical guide for the millennium. Let's see if there's some other verses in Isaiah. This is a good one. This is huge. This is huge. Isaiah 11:9. This is also in 2nd Nephi because Isaiah chapters and verses are included. This is another prophecy concerning the coming of the millennium, which says, "They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea." So in the second coming, literally everybody will know of Christ. Yo! Huge, well, relatively decently sized super chat. I realize I can't call a $100 super chat huge and also a $5 super chat.
$5 on YouTube. Kai, should I be maxing every day or should it be spread out?
Never jelk. Hashtag never jelk. What even is jelking? I've heard this, but I don't know if I know the technical definition. Oh my goodness. Y'all be doing that? Bro, do I gotta start jelking? Is it part of the looks maxing protocol? Is it part of the looks maxing? Okay, see, I thought it was like edging. That's what I thought, but it's not by the sound of things. What was the question? Kai, should I be junk maxing every day or should it be spread out? No idea. I have not the foggiest idea. Stop when it hurts. Well, but isn't the pain kind of like necessary? Like if you're talking about muscle tears? I'm just asking questions. I think we're gonna have to get back to you on that one. LOHDHSS. No, HSHS. Don't do it. It leads to homosexuality. That's possible. That's quite possible. I believe it. Anyway, so what were we doing? We were reading the scriptures. Oh, my bad. Let's get back to like the scriptures. Let's get back to like the word of God after reading that. Let's do a little cleanse. Let's do a timeline cleanse. Let's see if there's a good analysis of Isaiah 65. I don't know if there is. Let's see here. But I don't know, Sophia, you'll have to let me know if that answers your question. That's what it's describing. The earth is also going to be made new. It's going to, and this is where it gets interesting. You guys want to know some esoteric LDS theology? There are certain scholars who posit that the Earth, because it is also a living organism, I don't know, this gets like really difficult because it's like, you know, you can then relate it to anything else. But the idea is that the Earth, which eventually is going to become the celestial kingdom, very few know this. You got to read your Doctrine and Covenants again. The Earth, which will become the celestial kingdom, it will be made like glass, and it will be the Old Testament Institute manual. That's goated. I got to read that. The Earth has been baptized already. Think about that. Think about that. The Earth needed to be baptized, and it was. What do you guys think of that? Huh? It shall become as a sea of glass. Exactly.
Asian Mormon sent $10.
Asian Mormon, thank you for the 10. Sends in a another Vril banger, another banger out of Agartha. Holy Agarthan bangers tonight, man. 2000 slowed. So real. You know what? I don't know why I got reminded of this. The Dracula movie is going to go so hard, man. I cannot wait to see that. When does that come out? When does Dracula come out, dude? When does Dracula come out? It's got to be soon, right? Dude, it opens on Friday? No way, dude. Oh my gosh. That's going to be awesome. That is going to be so awesome. Hold on, it's not rated. I don't know how I feel about that. Not rated? Isn't that like really bad? Do they have a parents review on this? It looks so good though. Dude, it looks so good. It looks so freaking awesome. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't think they have a they don't have a parent's guide yet. It's not getting super good ratings, but it looks based. And then that Wuthering Heights movie's coming out. Dude, this Jacob Elordi, he's gonna get AstroTurf like crazy, bro. Asian Mormon seems like a rave baby. You think he's out there raving in the club? You think Asian Mormon be going up to the DJ like, hey yo, can you play 2000 slowed? Can you play Schnuffel Haschen Party featuring Michael Wendler slowed? Yo, this song that you're playing, this is really good. Can you play the slowed and reverb version of it? Hey yo, this is awesome. Hey DJ, this song is awesome. If you go to SoundCloud, there's another version of it where they make the sound go like 360 and they slow it and they add a lot of reverb. Could you play that one next? This one's pretty good. No, don't get me wrong. This one's pretty good, but okay, so the artist actually released a slowed version, dude, because it was huge on TikTok. You should play that one. Trust me, everybody's gonna like it more. That Asian Mormon would be like Asian Mormon in the club. That was me when I went clubbing with Clavicular. That was me when for the first time in my life I went clubbing and I was totally sober and I was with Clavicular and Cookie King and K Shami. Dude, that sounds so cool to say now. It sounds so cool to say that I've been clubbing with Clavicular. He took my clubbing virginity. Did you know that? He didn't take my virginity in the club. He took my clubbing virginity. Let's be clear. And let's get to, I think we had one more super chat. And actually, I do want to do an analysis there. Kieran Barnes, good to see you in the chat. I do want to do the Old Testament. Hold on. Old Testament Seminary Manual, LDS, Isaiah 65. Let's look this up. Clav needs to learn how to tie a tie. True. We got to get him off of the single Windsor, dude. Like, what are we, or the half Windsor, I mean. Like, what are we doing here? Okay, here we go. This is it's the millennium. Okay, here we go. Where are we? Does it not actually give us a good, it doesn't even dive into it really. It says, one of the reasons Isaiah's writings are so great is that they explain much of the great plan of God and central role of Jesus Christ as our Savior in that plan. In Isaiah, we read about events that occurred in the premortal life as well as those that will occur during the millennium. Isaiah 65 to 66 speaks about the millennium. In verses 1 through 16 of Isaiah 65, however, the Lord concluded his message to the Israelites of Isaiah's day. He told them he had always been available to help and redeem them, but they chose wickedness instead. Because the Lord loved the Israelites, he promised not to completely destroy them. See verses 8 through 10. He also promised he would try to give the same blessings they rejected to future generations of Israelites and to others as well. See verses 13 through 15. Even in punishing Israel, we sense the great love that the Lord has for them and for all people. Based. I wonder if there's anything else. Maybe here? Oh, and we're going through it. We're going through it this year for Come Follow Me. Basically, every year in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we study together as congregations a different tome of Scripture. Tice, thank you for the 5, bro. Thank you very much. We cover a different part of the scriptural canon. This year we're doing the Old Testament. So...
Tice 4M sent $5.
Yeah. Oh. Holy classic. Holy classic, bro. Okay, I was listening to this before it was in the Agartha edits, though. 5 years ago, I was in Germany working out, and this guy that did this, Colin Hay, I was listening to this guy all the time. He would do crazy good edits. So, real. Yo, Tice W for real, Tice W. What's the verse again? We're looking at Isaiah 65:17 is the verse. What's up, Orangius? What's going on, twin? We don't do call-ins typically in the show, but I appreciate you being here. If you got any questions, you should totally hit me up on Instagram. I answer all my DMs. It's KAIKLIPS. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. According to these verses, the following, and it's actually cool that we got this song playing. This is what's happening during the millennium, dude. This is the music that you hear as the world is transforming. The Lord will create new heavens and a new earth. That's from verse 17. There will be great joy and no more weeping for the Lord's people. People will not die young. They will live to be 100 years old. People will enjoy fruits of their own labors. Prayers will be answered immediately. There will be no enmity among beasts. And from these verses, we learn that during the millennium, the Lord's people will enjoy happiness, peace, and prosperity. Based. So basically, the millennium is super awesome and epic, and that's what Isaiah is talking about. I'm also in a class right now in BYU, which is just about Isaiah. It's all the writings of Isaiah. And I'm learning so much, and it's so epic. This is why a religious education is like the best thing ever. I'm telling you people. I'm telling you people, it is so awesome. Banger. Banger alert. All right, right after this song, seeing no more super chats, we will jump into the second half of the show. We'll do it very quick. We're not going to do a lot. Be sure to subscribe. I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you guys, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Rumble, subscribe on Kick, on Twitter, on Instagram. All of these are linked in the link in my bio on YouTube. That's the easiest place to find it. And yeah, go check it out. Go check it out. Without further ado, let's jump back over to the show. Okay. Now, I know nothing changed for you guys. For me, it's important. Now let's jump into our second story, which is about the Epstein files. The Epstein files. And it's a little tongue-in-cheek, the name of the show. We all knew that he was a sussy guy. But these 3 million files, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, we're not going to go in depth. Some people are going to be upset at that. These are 3 million files, tens of thousands of images. Nobody has been able to comb through them. I've watched analyses. I've gone over details. Nobody has seen enough of these files yet to truly, speak about them at length. And that is an important detail. But when we think about the files and when we look at the reactions that are already occurring, where people are mentioning Trump's name is mentioned 5,000 times, and admittedly, a lot of those mentions are investigations by the FBI because there's accusations being made against him or allegations being made against him, and they are proven to be, fake, or the people are mentally ill, or they've been investigated, they've been reached out to, and they wouldn't reach back, they wouldn't contact the FBI. There's a lot of nuance here. And so it's not as cut and dry as like Trump raped a bunch of people or a lot of assault. And I don't think it is particularly surprising that there's accusations waged against him. But on top of that, and look, people might not like this, it's kind of hard to believe that there is not some of this that is true. And I understand this is the classic, what is it, the Gish Gallop? It's a Gish Gallop, right? When you jump from one issue to another. The Gish Gallop fallacy. Yes. Overwhelming an individual with as many arguments as possible, right? This is what the CES letter does. The CES letter is a letter written to a CES director, which is, over education for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It is this letter written that has 100+ complaints or questions, good faith questions, just asking questions about the truth claims of the church. The claims themselves suck. The questions are not well researched. They are not in depth. Many of them have easy answers, or they rely on half-truths or falsehoods in some cases to make the point across. But nonetheless, to an individual who is struggling in their faith, when they see, wow, this guy wrote a letter with 100 problems that the church has, one of these must be true. I'm just going to leave the church. That's what happens. It is an attempt to overwhelm them. It is an attempt to overwhelm people with just a sheer quantity of information and telling them that some of it must be true. And I don't want to engage in that fallacy, but look at the kinds of people that we're talking about. We are talking about the richest people in the Western world. We are talking about people who not only are rich, but live in sectors of society where degeneracy is abundant and who come, by the way, from periods of time, we're talking the 70s, the 80s, where sexual promiscuity and outright just like deviousness and deviance, all of that is normal to a lot of these people. If you're a billionaire, you're part of a small group and all of them know each other. I don't for a second believe that these billionaires are not communicating in some way, which is why you even have somebody like Elon Musk writing what is called the worst email ever. And he is asked to leave Epstein Island. And look, this is kind of tongue in cheek, but it's true. And it shows, by the way, that people are lying through their teeth about many of these things. The U.S. government, and this is one of the clearest things, the U.S. government, and the Trump admin in particular, totally lied about the lack of existence of the Epstein files. They obviously exist. How are they going to say, oh, the Epstein files? No, those don't exist. And then somebody says, well, what about these 3 million files? Oh, you mean those Epstein files? Silly me. Oh, no, those are real. Those 6 million in total files, I didn't know you were talking about those. Okay, give us like a month. And to be fair, they didn't ask for a month. They wanted it never to come out. They tried so hard to obstruct the release of the files until they were mandated to do so by Congress, and then they even took a month longer than the deadline. So there's zero transparency in this process. And then on top of that, they go through a process of redactions, but the redactions are not even themselves very good. And I think part of that is because certainly you would have had to have dozens, if not thousands, of agents assigned to doing the redactions. But what ends up happening is you have the same page in the Epstein files redacted in 2 different ways. And if you just put those 2 files together, you have the entirety of the information. This happens on numerous occasions, and you have these redactions in some points that they don't even make sense, or they're even so poorly executed that you can still read what's being attempted to be redacted. So there's a part of it which is literally just, I don't think the government has the manpower to search through all of these. And frankly, I don't think that intelligence is smart enough or capable enough to redact everything that needed to be redacted. And that's one thing to mention, is that this release does seem to be a little haphazard, and maybe that lends to its credibility. But I also think the biggest thing to be discussed here is just the absolute quantity. I don't like how people are coming out and they're saying that this is true and that this is absolutely the case. Some of it certainly seems legitimate. There are emails that are real, but you take something, for instance, like Bill Gates. There's an email that's written to Bill Gates by Jeffrey Epstein, where Jeff claims that Bill commissioned him or like solicited him for drugs to give to Bill's wife, Melinda, right? Because she had contracted an STD. Jeffrey Epstein mentions a secret that has to be kept between the two of them, and we don't get Bill Gates' side of that exchange, so we don't know if, all of this ends up being true. Nonetheless, that email shows you exactly the way that Jeffrey Epstein operates. Let's read through it. And this is actually a little eerie when we do get to it. Let's see here. Holy cow, I had a ton of files up. You know what? We just got to look this back up. We're just going to have to look this back up. Too many files here. Alrighty. Reading from his notes, Epstein's. Dude, why do they never include it? Come on. None of these newspapers are including it. There it is. From the DOJ. Dear Bill, I cannot believe that you have chosen to disregard our friendship, developed over the last 6 years. I am aware that accidents happen. Is how each of us has chosen to deal with this unfortunate event that has me beyond dismayed, or dismayed beyond comprehension. You have decided to discharge me from my job. Had Larry, your PR person, tell me that I engaged in morally inappropriate behavior, asked me to be the major actor in a cover-up so that you can maintain the reputation that you have worked so hard to achieve, asked me to recommit to a confidentiality agreement, and have categorically told me that we cannot have any direct ongoing business relationship. In total disregard for its impact on the public perception of my reputation. I will have to diligently avoid the truth, tell people that Bill will not invest with me, and craft an answer that suits your needs. But you did agree to send you a letter of recommendation should a future employer ask for one. You have told me that Melinda insists on me not communicating with you unless Larry is copied or present, though you have consistently maintained that I could not have done a better job and that I was underpaid compared to my contribution. You then beyond all sense of fairness and frankly decency said that as a generous compensation for keeping the Gates reputation intact, you would let me keep what we agreed I had already owed, the investment pieces, and would have said, Boris, this is not your fault. I confessed to Melinda, or hold on, nope, we skipped. Dude, it's so closely written. I need like one of the pointer fingers. I need like a slider. I'm going to be like one of those kids. And the dog will... I'm going to be like Kai Cenat. Dude, this is my Kai Cenat moment where I'm struggling to read. Oh, gosh. And the other guy, the other black Twitch streamer who struggles to read, his name is Rukai. What is up with Kai's and not being able to read? Why is it always my name? When did Kai become a black name, dude? Sky Jackson? Oh, another one. All right, anyway, we'll continue. I genuinely have my finger on the screen now. I confess to Melinda, you didn't. It was in a moment of weakness, and I will do anything within my power to make it right to you. Or hold on. Compensation for keeping the Gates reputation intact, blah, blah, blah. Keep the investment pieces, give me 2 years of severance, similar to Christine Turner, another casualty. If the shoe was on the other foot, I would have said, Boris, this is not your fault. I confess to Melinda. You didn't. It was in a moment of weakness, and I will do anything within my power to make it right for you. I have more money than anyone needs, and I assure you I will structure something so that you will not be penalized for my error. Lucky for me, I have enough money to provide to you. Though it will not heal the injury, it will make you secure in your future. In addition, I will bend over backwards to make sure your next career is rewarding and on an upswing. I appreciate the fact that this drastically alters your plans, and I'm very aware of the career path you have given up to join the foundation. I'm very sorry, but as I believe time heals all wounds, this will eventually pass. In that regard, I suggest you buy the house that you so had your heart set on. And in addition to 5 years of severance, will buy you out of the investment contract we had agreed. 30 to 40% of a $100 million partnership for $30 million in today's dollars. Terms and conditions to be agreed. That's what I would have done had I been in your shoes. What I did receive, however, was an unfriendly, strongly worded email telling me how employable I am and that I should not look to you for any significant financial help in the future. Now, here is the interesting part that's, subrayado, that is highlighted. To add insult to the injury, you then implore me to please delete the emails regarding your STD. Your request that I provide you antibiotics that you can surreptitiously give to Melinda, and the description of your penis. Sorry, that caught me off guard. You also made it clear to me that I am not to refer to redacted, as that is another topic that must remain between the two of us. We assume this is a young underage girl. In return for all of these requests, which I would have done without a second thought, I am not to attend meetings with Melinda. I should continue to provide you the same level of service and dedication that I have done so diligently until you are ready to discard me and our friendship. So, what's interesting is this is from Jeffrey Epstein to Jeffrey Epstein, subject Bill. So it's like an email, to Bill, but it's from Jeff Epstein to Jeff Epstein. And there's a lot of stuff in here that's fishy. There's a lot of it where it's like, what is being put in here? Is he just writing stuff to incriminate people? But then you also look at the larger context. Melinda Gates has claimed that part of the reason for her divorce is Bill's closeness, his proximity to Jeffrey Epstein. And, I don't think Bill Gates appears to be one of the worst people in the world, but he's a billionaire, and I think I could count on a single hand the amount of billionaires who are righteous individuals. There is something so true to be said about what Jesus says about wealth in the scriptures. That's underrated. People kind of brush that off. There is something very dangerous. Asian Mormon would know. He has to fight temptation every day. Fight the temptation of donating $1 billion to kaiclips on PowerChat. Yes, sir. Now, jokes aside, this is one of these things, and it'll be mentioned frequently. You've got names that appear. You've got people who are mentioned. So many people are implicated in these emails that it is just, frankly, it is ridiculous. And you have to ask, is Jeffrey just trying to make people look bad? The way I read this, it looks like he's writing the most incriminating information possible, a perfect summary of all the things that he is trying to incriminate or implicate somebody in, to be later discovered. I mean, this is weird. And in days prior to his suicide, which is absolutely not a suicide, that can be said for certain, he's in talks about, cooperating with investigators. This is all very fishy. And what's fishier about it still is somehow, no matter what your political views are, you have something in the Jeffrey Epstein files that corroborates or substantiates, proves your point. You think it's all Israel? Well, we've got a quote about how, the Trump admin is run by Jared Kushner and that he has capitulated to Israel. You want it to be bad about Bill Gates? Well, here's a quote right there. You hate Elon Musk? Well, here's an email from Elon Musk talking about going to the craziest party on Epstein Island, which does, for the record, appear to be real. You hate Trump? Well, he's mentioned 5,000 times. And admittedly, it's not often more than allegations. Allegations which are investigated by the FBI before Donald Trump is a politician. It's not to say he's not a billionaire. It's not to say he can't pay people off, but it is to say that the political pressures did not exist at the time that these documents are being sourced from. So that to me is weird. It's weird that almost every single philosophy or ideology is having their points being substantiated, but what this all really proves, and this is maybe my thesis statement about it, and I said this a couple weeks back debating at the University of Utah. I don't necessarily believe that having all this information is going to be a net good. People simply are too stupid to appreciate information when they have it and to filter it when it is in excess. I think there are maybe 10%. There's maybe 10% of the US population, the world population, that is adequately equipped to filter through everything we're reading and have a takeaway that is true. And this is the problem. We also, by the nature of how blown up this has been, forget certain critical details, such as an allegation is an allegation. It is not proof of crime or of deviancy or anything like that. And yet, you're going to find a billion people who look at these allegations, and because they've been released by the government in the Epstein files, think that they are automatically true. This, by the way, is something that leftists already do with certain cases that Trump has been implicated in legally. That's a big problem. Yeah, Papa Clutch. It's MI6. It's Mossad. It's the Rockefellers. Literally. The other half is also, yeah, to some degree, it's all of this does exist in a web. When you have power and money, you know people who have power and money, which is where you get very interesting interactions between Michael Jackson and politicians and children and all that. But it is not at all impossible with so much content to have within it contained a poison pill. Who's to say that it doesn't come out tomorrow that a significant amount of this has been doctored or altered? And what would the best defense be? Well, look, we found these documents that are AI generated. We found documents that have been forged, that have been altered. And look, these have been forged and doctored. So how can you trust any of it? Honestly, and this is fallacious itself, but one of the best ways you can shut down an entire body of work pointing out that it comes from a poisonous tree, including within it a poison pill, feeding false information to people and letting them run wild. To some extent, this is happening with Candace Owens. She's getting ridiculous information, probably from people who are literally trying to make her say insane things, to discredit her further, but to lead other people to these insane conclusions. Whatever the case is, I don't think this looks good for Trump. I don't think it's good for him at all. But, I mean, come on. Do we think that the people in government don't know about these files? These have existed for, over a decade? Like, let's be serious. And again, the thesis statement here is that, frankly, people are too stupid to have this much information. We were never taught how to filter information. We were never taught how to discern what is useful, what is not useful. You're going to have a bunch of idiots who see anything in these files and believe that this is the gospel truth. Well, they said it in the release. They said it in the release literally from, the government. The government released it. The DOJ released it. It must be true. Well, if you're the FBI and anybody makes an allegation, you're going to write that down. It becomes part of a report. It becomes a file in the Epstein files. Whether or not there's any amount of credibility, this is what happened with JFK. We were reading over those files a couple years ago when the JFK files came out initially. We were reading over the files, and what was one of the big takeaways? There was included these tales of like this schizophrenic guy who claimed that he was being I think sodomized or assaulted in some way by Russian agents and this and that. The FBI has to note that down. It doesn't make it true. Just because things appear in files does not mean they are true. Do I think that everybody gets off scotch-free? Absolutely not. Does this maybe implicate and, show the web of these connections that exist between these incredibly powerful individuals? I think so. And I think, honestly, the takeaway is that things are a lot worse than we imagine, and people lie a lot more than perhaps we know. Elon Musk is obviously lying when he says that Jeffrey Epstein wanted him desperately to come to his island because Elon Musk wrote him emails asking that. But do we 100% know if those are true? We really don't. That's the difficult thing. So it's tough, man. Whatever the case is, I think it is going to be abundantly clear now to everybody to everybody that MAGA, or rather Trump, is not going to be winning anything anytime soon. I would not be surprised if this is the thing that divorces Trump from his MAGA movement. And we don't know what is going to be coming out. We don't know everything that's in these 3 million files. We don't know how much of it is duplicated. We don't know how much of it is been poorly redacted. But what I do know for certain is that people are too stupid to have this much information. It is not, transparency is a good thing, but it is not an absolute good that every single individual have access to 1 billion files that they don't even know how to access themselves. I don't think that's a good thing. I think that causes a lot of chaos, and I think that is maybe one of the important details here, is that the amount of disruption this will cause is going to be great. So, anyway, there is, Tice is right. There's that aspect as well, where these files have existed for decades. You don't think anybody is going to have altered or redacted or shredded or included new stuff? We don't think that this stuff has been in some way tampered with. Like, I actually tend to be more on the side of this is haphazardly released because they didn't know what to do. Because they had no idea how to redact it all, because it's just so much. But it's insane to be claiming that the only thing left is just, videos of children. That's not what it is, obviously. We're seeing that now. So, the other thing, maybe the last point here about the Epstein issue, the other big thing is, what was I going to say? Yes, this should, again, be a call to action for every single one of us to live our lives in more just ways, to be more consecrated, to be more righteous, to abstain from sin, and tomorrow in church to pray for repentance, to meet with ecclesiastical leaders if we have to take a look at our lives and realize where are our weaknesses. Because when you are put in a position and you're talking to incredibly powerful people, it becomes so easy to sacrifice your morals. And it is just one of those decisions that puts a Bill Gates, for instance, in the place that we may find him as the subject of one of those Epstein emails. It is one single decision that can change every other decision you make for the rest of your life. And that is a decision to capitulate to people who are looking to give you money for seemingly no reason, who just want to have you be a part of a party. Please be so cautious. And realize as well that the same principle applies to our souls. And I say this as well for me. A lot of what I say on the show, I say it with a mirror looking at me. I look at myself as I say it. I'm trying to convince myself of it, right? To once again recommit ourselves to abstaining from vice, to living virtuously, because that is your number one protection. Your number one protection is the reputation that you carry, a reputation that springs forth from your actions and from your every word and deed. That is the best thing you can do. So tomorrow at church, that is the invitation. Recommit yourself. I will recommit myself. We will all recommit ourselves to living virtuous, chaste lives. Chaste really being one of the biggest parts of this. Chastity being a huge Achilles heel. So anyway, there we go. Gentlemen, I got to have some water. I'm going to be right back. We'll get into our super chats. I'm going to be right back. I want to grab a LaCroix. Got to grab a LaCroix real quick. Sorry, Jenna. Oh, the studio's breaking. Don't look at my pants. Don't look at my pants. They're not dress pants. They're like green pants. They're like green pants. It's fine. All righty, gentlemen. I'm all right. Oh. I can already hear the comments. Dang, you live like this? Yep. That's why you need a super chat. Put me in a studio, please. Just please put me in a studio, bro. I'm so sick of this, bro. I'm so sick of this. Give me a second. We're gonna time out. We're gonna go to pause screen. Give me just a second. Man. Bro, I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. Oh, great. It's not even set up all the way. Hold on. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I was expecting to get flamed out. I was expecting to get totally roasted. And here we are. You know, let's look at these comments, dude. Sick Lego. Bro got a neck pillow. Very optimal. Christmas is over, buddy. Love the Santa on the dresser. Goated setup. Absolutely goated. W room. W. Whoa. Room tour. Record more just in your room. W room. MTV Cribs. kaiclips. An out of touch one. Tron. Man. You guys are so nice. It's a fire setup. Man, you guys are so nice. I was expecting to get slurred out for my room setup. And here you guys are. And here you guys are saying such nice things. Man, you make me want to take down the green screen. You make me want to... Guys, I'm sorry. I am a fraud. I don't live in this beautiful 80s inspired, like, beautiful house in Palo Verde, California. I'm sorry I lied to you guys. I'm sorry. The emperor has no clothes. I'm so sorry, bro. But you guys came and you showed me that it's okay to be poor. Man, thanks for supporting me, guys. Your room is cool. Lego is awesome. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more, my friend. We got a super chat from Hard Right Wing Memer. Hard Right Wing Memer, thank you for the 2. Does she say anything? Does Hard Right Wing Memer say anything? I don't think so. Just sends a super chat. Hey, thank you. Thank you for the 2. Oh no, that's not a girl. That's not a girl. That's a guy. Hard Right Wing Memer, thank you for the 2. Appreciate you, man. And all right, let's throw our ears in. What are you talking about? The Emperor has a dope suit. So true, bro. Room tour on the Gumroad? Yeah, I'll do a room tour on the Gumroad. That sounds cool. All right, let's go to our super chats again. If you guys do want to support the show, go to powerchat.live/kaiclips, or you can super chat on YouTube or Rumble or Kick. Without further ado, let's get into it. Got a thing on my tongue. All right. Can't go back and hold on, wait. Hold on. We've got a super chat from Papa Clutch. Thank you, man. So
Papa
huge.
Clutch sent $5.
So huge.
Sandwich?
Hold on, I just got called out. Dude. Hold on. We gotta pause this. We'll get to it all. I got called out. I just got called out, guys. I just got called out. So, dude. Okay, I gotta skip this. Hold on a minute, gentlemen. Hold on. Pause for a minute.
Asian Mormon sent $5.
Thank you, Asian Mormon. We'll listen to your song in just a sec. I just got exposed. This is embarrassing. So I liked the photo. I liked the tiramisu photo. But the caption is, well, actually the context is that this post that I liked on Instagram gets sent back to me by a girl that goes to my gym. Good looking gal. And she says, luckily, I've never seen your like on a non-banger post, which is good. But you know what the post was? This is kind of like, this was bad. This was a bad Kai moment. This was a down bad Kai moment. The tiramisu fandom is dying. Repost if you love ladyfingers in your mouth. That's rough. For those who don't get the joke explained. Ladyfingers are what they dip the espresso into in tiramisu. It's like a little stick. Could have gone worse. Hey, that could have gone worse. Guys, what do we say? To save this? I just said Lamau in all caps. What do we say to save it? What do we say to save this? And to, W Riz. What do we say to W Riz? Guys, what do we say? Guys, low genuinely, what do we say? What do we say? Is it over? Or do I double down? I think I got to double down. Me 10 minutes ago, stay away from girls at all costs. Me now, okay guys, but she goes to the gym though. Do the nonchalant gimmick. The chat cosigns that that's what's up. Patrick Graham, hey, you walked into the super chats. This is where the show goes off the rails. I'm going to say, hey, what can I say? I've got good taste. Shrug emoji, or is that too much? Shrug emoji, or is that too much? I think she's got green eyes. Hold on, gentlemen. No, I'm not showing any of you. Blue or green. Maybe it's like a combo. I think she's got blue eyes. No, Patrick Graham, that's not what I'm doing. This is not a flirting stream. This is a serious political show. Brenosh, I like lady toes as well. That's good. That's a banger. That's a little too sus. Oh, dude, I'm glad I caught myself. I almost typoed. Hey, what can I say? I've got good taste. Banger. A ring emoji. Okay. Provo speed run. Dude, I'm sweating. Guys, is it hot in here? Because I'm guys, I'm sweating a little bit, guys. Okay. All right. This is about politics. Okay, let's actually get back into the super chats. Let's actually see what's happening. Papa Clutch, thank you so much for the super chat.
Papa Clutch sent $5. Have you ever had a Vegemite sandwich?
I actually have had a Vegemite sandwich. I mean, I suppose it wasn't really a sandwich. It was like Vegemite with butter on bread, which was actually really good. Like white bread with Vegemite and butter is actually really yummy. Like I get why Australians would eat that. But a guy paid me $100 one time to eat a spoonful of Vegemite, and I about died. I about threw up on stream. It was crazy. Rome in America. Money. Rome in America. Look at you. Thank you, big guy. Which part of Rome? Which side? Which moment?
Rome in America sent $5 money.
Thank you, Rome in America. Money. 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 The water can's blending into the green screen. I know it is. It's LaCroix. Look at that beautiful LaCroix can. Ooh. Anyway, it's actually a magic bottle. It allows you to see through me. It's actually not a green screen. It just allows you to see through me is what it does. Let's see what's going on. But yeah, money, thank you. Or Rome in America, thank you for the money. Yeah, the Vegemite sandwich. The Vegemite by itself, not good at all. The first time I had it was in 3rd grade, and then one of our Australian viewers sent some to me, and it almost made me throw up. And then Asian Mormon, thank you for the super chat, big guy. Look at this, dude. Look at this total goat. Guys, she liked the message. Guys. Do I double text? Do I double text? Guys, do I double? No. What do I, guys? I'm not gonna. We're gonna leave that there. You put butter on white bread and then put hundreds of thousands on said buttered bread. What? Hundreds of thousands of what? What is bro talking about? What is? Oh, yo, banger. Total banger, bro. Next to me, bro. MQX. I gotta stop saying bro. It's such an unintelligent thing to say. This is my verbal tick. Bro is my verbal tick. I sold. Okay, guys. Guys, is it over? Guys, is it just over for me? I've got another conversation starter. I've got another one. It's topical, kind of. Say blood? Yeah, I like saying twin, too. I gotta say chat instead. Chat. Instead of bro, I gotta start saying chat. Man, this is a banger. Alright, and then we had, sorry, I just gotta tune in. Yo, you know what song I heard the other day? This total banger remix of this song, Brooklyn Blood Pop, obviously. You guys gotta check this out. Send her the link to the stream. I don't know about that one. I don't know if we're gonna do that. I don't know if we're gonna send her the link to the stream. I don't know if we're gonna send her the link to the stream, honestly. Foidal contact will not be tolerated. True. Me? Talking to Anfoid? Never. Never talking to Anfoid. Me when Anfoid wants to talk to me? That's my reaction. Bro, I said it again. She just sent me, it is a bra moment. She just sent me the link to the stream. I'm joking, that didn't happen. But what if it did? But what if that did happen? That would have been crazy. That would have been so crazy, guys, right? Okay, anyway, let's dive back into it once this song ends. Total banger, bro. Again with this word. Somebody put a shock collar around my neck, so I stopped saying it. Hassan Piker, get over here. I know you got kicked off of Twitch. If you're looking for another job, just put a shock collar around my neck and punch it whenever I say that word. Oh my goodness. It bothers me. It's so unintelligent. Yo, Jewberry Green.
$4.99 on YouTube. Here, Kai, go to DI and buy yourself George Washington praying at Valley Forge painting.
Dude, that would go hard. That would go so hard, man. That painting, I need it in the room. I need it in the room for real. I need it in the room for real. That would go so hard. And then the White Mormon. Hey, White Mormon, thank you for the $2. He says, low-key disappointed in the March for Life turnout compared to the anti-ICE march in the SLC. Well, you know what it is? It's and I've said this all the time. What it is that leftists, they are more activist by nature. Like, these people are not employed. These people do not have jobs. These people do not have jobs. They are activist by nature. Conservatives, we appreciate order, tranquility, responsibility, and we're more individualistic. Whereas liberals are collectivist, They are highly rebellious. They like protesting. They are activist by their nature. They are less happy, which causes them to want to express it. And this is why there is such a difference in the turnout to these two events. You're right, though. It is a big problem. It is a big problem that there's not more turnout. That there's not more turnout from right-wing folks for these kind of events. But we had we had more than 500 people. It was a good turnout.
$5 block her #wizard.
Yo, block her #wizard for life. Yeah, that's. Hey, I might just do that. If this gets worse, I might just do that. Oh, thanks. Blocked. Sorry, I never speak to Ann Foyd. Never. Not even once. Not even one Foyd. Not even one Foyd, bro. I said it again. Ethical Mormon. Thank you, though, for the 5. Big thank you. We had a super chat as well on, where was this? Yo! Roman America. Let's flip and glow. Let's flip and glow. He says, you should wear a green shirt on your next stream so you'll blend in with a green screen. Well, I don't know what green screen you're talking about. What I could do is I could put on my magic shirt that allows you to peer through my chest, not through the clothes. Let's be clear, you sussy people. I know you want that, but no. But I'm like a magician. I have a special shirt that allows you to look through me to my house. So we could do that. We could do that at some point. I've got my magic drink right now, which allows you to peer through me. Check that out. Boom. Isn't that crazy? Rome in America. Thank you very much, though, for the 2. And then we had a super chat over on Rumble by Sophia, who says, W Room Tour, man. And favorite 80s or 90s rock bands or songs? Rock bands. Yes. REO Speedwagon. Best of the best. I love REO Speedwagon. I'm a big fan of Pink Floyd. If you're going to 90s, does Radiohead count? What, their first album was in the 90s, wasn't it? Or am I tweaking? Yeah, 93. Yep. Yep, Boy Honey. Or Pablo Honey, bruh. I'm thinking Boy Pablo and Pablo Honey. Combine them both. Yeah, definitely Radiohead for 90s and 80s has got to be REO Speedwagon. 100%. Kieran, let's see if your super chat went through. We'll see. It should be coming in soon. Sometimes it takes a second. Where did you send it? Did you send it on YouTube, on Rumble? And hey, much love from Britain. He says, hey, thank you, Kieran. Much appreciation from the great state of Utah. See? You see how we have a companionship there? You see how you and me on the same wave? Yeah, Pink Floyd, REO Speedwagon, great bands. 2 amazing, amazing bands. Kai, it's BYU. Just pop a ring. She doesn't go to BYU, though. She goes to a different school. That's why you wouldn't know her. You wouldn't know her because she goes to a different school. Pink Floyd, bro, banger? Pink Floyd, holy banger. That's the comment of the stream. That Ethan Whitney, that's the first comment I've seen from him the entire show. Oh, no. He actually just commented a little bit earlier. And a couple times before that, too. Anyway, that's the best comment of the show. Have we already done our scripture study segment for tonight? I think so. I think the Isaiah verses were good. Maybe we'll read, what is it? Let's read some Alma 38. Let's read some Alma just to kind of maybe square off the stuff, whatchamacallit, or Alma 38. Let's read some Alma 38 so that we can kind of top off the conversation we were having about avoiding sin and whatnot. Here it is. Ready? This is Alma 38, verse 14. Do not say, O God, I thank thee that we are better than our brethren, but rather say, O Lord, forgive my unworthiness and remember my brethren in mercy. Yea, acknowledge your unworthiness before God at all times. And may the Lord bless your soul and receive you at the last day into his kingdom to sit down in peace. Now go, my son, and teach the word unto this people. Be sober, my son. Farewell. Banger. Total banger. Can we just give it up, actually, for those verses? I mean, come on. Does it get any better? Those are some fantastic scriptures, and that really is the thing that you have to understand. It's like, look, realize your unworthiness before God at all times, and pray for strength, for forgiveness. So based. And let's see, I think I'm going to look through my bookmarks and see if we have got a good, somebody mentioned they'd like if I dive into a little bit more of the Bible. And I think that's a good point, actually. I think that's a good point. Oh, which one is this? No, this is also the Book of Mormon. Yea, and as often as my people repent, will I forgive them their trespasses against me. Banger. Banger. Which one is this? It's another Book of Mormon verse. Banger. Ooh. This is real. This is real. This is a real verse about the situations that we be in. Ready? Ready? Big red pills coming from Ephesians here. Ephesians chapter 4. Amazing chapter, by the way. But here's 17 through 20. It says, This I say therefore, and testify in the Lord, that ye henceforth walk not as Gentiles walk, in the vanity of their mind, having the understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of God through the ignorance that is in them, because of the blindness of their hearts, who being past feeling have given themselves over to lasciviousness, to work all uncleanliness with greediness. But ye have not so learned Christ. If so be that ye have heard him and have been taught by him, as the truth is in Jesus, that ye put off concerning the former conversation the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lusts, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that ye put on the new man, which after God is created in righteousness and true holiness. That's a banger. Is that not just such a banger? Anyway, we'll leave that there. Thank you guys so much for all of the support on the show today. I love that those two verses, Ephesians 4:17 and on, and the verse that we read from Alma 38, the last two verses, they actually work together so well. And that is the point of the Book of Mormon. It is to, together with the Bible, testify of the life, mission, and gospel of Jesus Christ. So thank you guys so much. Genuinely, I'd like to thank our super chatters, Roman America, Ethical Mormon, White Mormon, Ethical Mormon, White Mormon, Jewberry Green, Rome in America. Is that Roman America? Yeah, Roman America. Everyday Elizabeth. Oh, hold on. We didn't read this super chat. Everyday Elizabeth, thank you for the 10. This is why we go over it. Man.
Everyday Elizabeth sent $10. Can't go back in time and close the border, and protests will continue. One change to avoid more death by ICE.
Can't go back in time and close the border, and protests will continue. True. One change to avoid more death by ICE. I think there was probably more that was supposed to be there. I think there was probably more that was supposed to be there. Is she asking one change to avoid more death by ICE? I think they need to be trained. They just have to be well trained. I think that's a huge thing. But the bigger problem is that the police just were not cooperating with ICE at all. And so if the ICE are cooperating with ICE, I think you also reduce the violence significantly. So that's a super important detail as well. But yeah, we got Roman America. Thank you for the 3. That'll be our last super chat for the Ethan Whitney, you dog, you. All right, maybe that'll be the last super chat tonight.
At Ethan Whitney 4968 sent $9.99 on YouTube. Save Utah, please, Kai.
Hey, that's the mission. Hey, Ethan, that's the mission, man. We will save Utah. We will save Utah, and then after we save Utah, we will save the country. I will not let you down. Do you understand me? That's why we have to play the long game. We have to be good people. We have to be, well, we're going to be good people no matter what, but we got to be cunning. We got to be, what is it? Innocent as doves and wise as serpents, cunning as serpents. That's how we have to be. That is what we will do. We will save Utah, and then we will save the country, because you have to take care of your home before you can take care of the abroad, the space surrounding it. Before you can take care of the away, you have to take care of the home. So, hey, love you guys. Thank you so much, Ethan Whitney, for the 10. Legend, appreciate you. And Roman America says, did you see that Hicklib Scotty K Fitness getting dropped by his sponsor because he doxed a guy? Rome, we already talked about this. This was one of the first things we talked about on the show, is we talked about how Scotty K Fitness got dropped by Rise, and how that means that I'm going to be buying more Rise products now instead of less. I thought I was going to have to buy less because I thought they were going to back him up. But to my surprise, and indeed pleasant surprise, I was able to, we were able to have Rise come through and do the good thing, which is to totally drop him as one of their sponsors, or not as a sponsor, but one of their influencers. So very legendary. Asian, dude, every time I want to end the stream, I'm suffering from success, guys. Please. Stop sending me money, guys. Please, it's
Asian
too
Mormon
much.
sent $5.
Hey, thank you, Asian Mormon, for the 5. I think there was actually one that I missed on Rumble. Sophia, thank you for the super chat. She says, yo, man, we are like the same people. Hey, so true. Thank you, Sophia. Maybe we are. Deftones. Did Deftones release stuff in the 90s? Or were they early 2000s? They were 90s, weren't they? Yeah, 97 is around the fur. Yep. So Deftones. Deftones gets added as well. Deftones is also there in my list of best 90s rock artists. Yep. They count. And they're kind of heavier. So legendary. Kai, we gotta get you in makeup to make you look old enough to run for governor. Real? Make me look 35? Fake my birth certificate? That could go legendary. That could go pretty hard, not gonna lie. Pay your tithes and offerings on all that bread. Of course. Absolutely. I gotta get on that, actually. I'm a little overdue. So, did you guys see Burgess Owens reposted my video? Now I'm really just getting distracted, but anyway, I really appreciate you guys. I think we did get to all the super chats. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us. A huge shout out to all the super chats, all the super chatters we mentioned before as well. Ethan Whitney, Asian Mormon, Roman America, Ethical Mormon, White Mormon, Jewberry Green, Everyday Elizabeth, Hard Right Wing Memer, Asian Mormon, of course, the GOAT of the stream once again, Tice4M, Load HSHS, and our opening super chat from Syndicate USA. Love you guys so much. Appreciate the support. We will see you again on hopefully Tuesday. Hopefully Tuesday we will see you again. We'll try to do 3 streams next week. Until then, look out for the video that will be published tomorrow on YouTube. And unfortunately, for tonight, we are out of time. We'll see you later. Adios. Oh, there we go.